All right, in this video, we're going to take a look at area of a triangle. Okay, this is something you've seen before, but we will take a look at problems where we have to solve for missing pieces before finding the area. Okay, so the area of any triangle is 1/2 times the base times the height. And just like we looked at in the last video, the base and the height are always perpendicular to each other. Okay, that's true of a parallelogram, true of a triangle, true of any shape that we're going to look at. Base and the height are always perpendicular to each other. Right? So, a simple example here in this triangle, we are given a base of 24 meters and a height of 28 meters. So the area is going to be 1/2 times 24 times 28. So we can do 1/2 times 24 times 28 in the calculator, and we get that the area is 336. So if we're talking about area, that will be square meters. All right. So on these next few, we are asked for both the perimeter and area. Okay. So again, we may have some missing pieces that we need to find. For the area, okay, and we're just trying to find the area of this shaded part. So we have all the information we need. If area is 1/2 times the base times the height, well, these two pieces of information here would be the base and the height. So area will be 1/2 times 21 times 21. So 1/2 times 21 times 21 gets me 220.5. So the area, 220.5 square millimeters. Now this problem also asks us to find the perimeter. We are missing a piece of information for that. Right? But since we are looking at a right triangle here, to find the third side, we can use Pythagorean theorem. So Pythagorean theorem is a squared plus b squared equals c squared. Remember where a and b are the two sides that make up the right angle. So these would be a and b, and then this side is c. So I'll have 21 squared plus 21 squared equals c squared. Then do 21 squared in the calculator. That's 441. So we'll have 441 plus 441 equals c squared. So that'll be 882. And we can take the square root of 882. So square root of 882 is 29 point, if we round to the nearest tenth, that would be 29.7. So my missing side is 29.7. So to find the perimeter then, I just add all three sides together. So 21 plus 21 plus 29.7. That gets me 71.7 for my perimeter. And that would just be millimeters. Okay, so on this one, we needed to find a missing piece of information. All right, let's do another example. Okay, on this one, we actually have, again, all the information we need to find the area. Okay, the area is base times height. Now, the height looks a little bit weird on this one, right? 1/2 base times height. So the base, we can say, is this 22 right here. That would be the base. The height is actually all the way over here. Okay, the height doesn't necessarily have to be inside of the triangle. The height is just the distance from that top vertex straight down. Okay, now we could what we're actually doing here is just extending this base out. So that height is just the distance from the top vertex straight down to where that bottom side would be, even if it's not extended all the way out there. So my two pieces here for the area, the base is 22 and the height is 16. So area is 1/2 times 22 times 16. So 176 for the area. That'll be square feet. So now, to find the perimeter, we are missing a piece. Let me clean this up a little bit. We are missing this side. Okay. Well, if I look at this information over here, what we actually have is this side is the hypotenuse of a right triangle. I can use the Pythagorean theorem to find that missing piece of information. Okay, even though this 8 and this 16 are not sides of the triangle, we're still given that, and we can use that to find this third side. So the 8 and the 16 are the two legs, and the missing side is the hypotenuse. So my setup will be 8 squared plus 16 squared equals c squared. So we end up with 64 plus 256 equals c squared, and that is 320. So we will take the square root of 320 and get 17.9. So this missing side is 17.9. And then we have all the information we need to find the perimeter. So perimeter will be, and remember we're finding the perimeter of this shaded triangle. So the three sides of this shaded triangle are 34, 22, and 17.9. So if I add all those together, we get 73.9. And my units would just be feet. Okay. Let's take a look at another one here. So on this one, we actually don't have enough information right off the bat to find either the area or the perimeter. We're going to have to do a couple of different things to solve for missing pieces. First, I can solve for this leg. Okay, if I look at this right triangle right here, I know two sides. I know this is 3 and this is 5. Now, if I'm solving for this leg here, these two sides would be A and B, because those are the two sides that make up the right angle, and then this side is C. So we can say A squared plus B squared equals C squared. So we'll have 3 squared plus B squared equals 5 squared. Go ahead and square these values. So 9 plus B squared equals 25. Now to get B by itself, we'll subtract the 9 over and get B squared equals 16. And then if I take the square root of both sides, 16 is a perfect square, so we just get that B is 4. So this missing side here would be 4. Okay. So now we actually have enough information to find the area of this shaded triangle. The area will be 1/2 times the base times the height. So the base and the height are these two pieces that meet at a right angle. So 1/2 times 15 times 4. So I think that comes out to 30. So my area would be 30 square centimeters. But now to find the perimeter, I'm still missing another side. I'm still missing this side right here. Well, we can use Pythagorean theorem again. I know these two sides, I just want to find the hypotenuse. So these are my A and B, I want to find C. So my setup here to find this piece will be 15 squared plus 4 squared equals C squared. So 15 squared is 225, 4 squared is 16. Add those together, I think that's 241. And then, to get C by itself, we'll take the square root, and we need the calculator for that. So the square root of 241 gets me 15.5. So this missing piece is 15.5. And to find the perimeter then, we'll add these three sides together. 15 plus 4 plus 15.5. So that will be 34.5 centimeters. Okay, so finding missing pieces of information to find the area and the perimeter using Pythagorean theorem. Right? Let's do just one more example like that. All right. So again, we're missing two sides here. All right? Two sides of this shaded triangle. Well, first, if I look at this right triangle right here, I can find this missing side. Right? So if I'm doing a squared plus b squared equals c squared, the 9 and the 9 would be my a and b, and then this would be c. So my setup is going to be 9 squared plus 9 squared equals c squared. So 81 plus 81 equals c squared. So that's 162. And then we'll take the square root of both sides. So the square root of 162 is 12.7. So this missing side here is 12.7. Okay. Now, we would actually need to find this side as well. Okay. This is actually kind of tricky to see here. Okay, so what I'm going to do is get another copy of this triangle over here. Okay, to find this side, what we actually want to look at is this entire figure. I want to look at this whole thing as a right triangle. Okay, that'll let me solve for this missing piece. So this side here is going to be 13 plus 9. So this side is 22, and then this side is 9. So if I'm doing a squared plus b squared equals c squared, this 22, okay, would be one of my a or b. I'll call it a, call this b, and then my hypotenuse is c. So my setup would be 22 squared plus 9 squared equals c squared. So 22 squared, 484, and 9 squared is 81. So 484 plus 81 is 565. And then we will take the square root of that. So the square root of 565 gets me 23.8 if I round to the nearest tenth. So this missing side here is 23.8. So let's look at the information we have. Okay, let me clean up this triangle here. So two pieces of information we just solved for. This side is 23.8, and this side right here is 12.7. So let's figure out what we need for the area and the perimeter. So if area is 1/2 times the base times the height, which two pieces of information here are the base and the height. Well, the base and the height always meet at a right angle. So the base, we would actually say, is just this 13, and the height is 9. Even though the base doesn't extend out that far, we just want to see if we did extend it out, where it would meet the height at a right angle. So the area is going to be 1/2 times 13 times 9. So 1/2 times 13 times 9 is 58.5. So my area is 58.5. That will be square centimeters. Then my perimeter is going to be 13 plus 12.7 plus 23.8. So the perimeter, 13 plus 12.7 plus 23.8. Perimeter is 49.5, and that'll just be centimeters. Okay, so we may have to visualize a larger triangle like this to find a missing piece, but we're going to use Pythagorean theorem quite often.